So actually, I was had bankruptcy in the United States due to medical expenses and just living expenses after battling cancer. And I moved to Mérida, and I live in a $300 studio apartment.
So we are here in Mérida. I love it. There's grass. We are standing in the grass that does not exist in La Paz, where I'm from. So we're on the other side of the country now, and we're talking with Craig, and that's who you just met. And we're going to go through kind of where I like to start things is kind of in the beginning, and that's maybe where that those medical expenses and that bankruptcy came from. So let's start over at the beginning of Craig's story. We're going to move through to where he's living here, why he moved to Mérida, and get the details of that $300 a month studio apartment here in Mérida, more about his life, how he keeps himself busy. So let's go ahead and start digging into Craig's story.
On 9/11, I was living in New Jersey along the Hudson River, and we watched both towers fall. Actually, my ex-wife has like hundreds of photos as they were coming down. I knew I needed to be there. I was in construction my whole life, and I can basically run anything. I went there for 2 days. Eventually, I developed lung cancer. So I only had to be there, anybody had to be there for 4 hours the first 5 days, and I was there for 2 days of the first 5 days. I didn't think about it afterwards because I was in the process of moving to Florida to get married. And what happened was in 2012, my bottom lobe, my right lung, popped, deflated, whatever you want to call it. And that was the journey. It started the journey of my health challenges and finding that the expenses were ridiculous. We ended up filing bankruptcy, just living expenses, medical expenses. There's a lot of programs with the 9/11 that really didn't do us any good. I don't like to, bash everything because they did save my life by eventually taking my mid and lower lobe out in a bilobectomy. And it just created a bunch of bad situations. What I eventually did was come down to Mérida. I used to live down here for 7 years, 10 years ago. And I came down here for my medical, and I came down in June. And it was after I lost one of my best friends, 30-year everyday phone call guy. I just figured I might as well stay down here for a little while and get my health challenges under control. And had my first surgery September for my knee. That was my 13th. And after that, I had a lot of problems with not healing, and had gone to him again, the orthopedic surgeon. And he started saying that it was possible that I had synovial sarcoma. And that would be the 4th time that they were telling me that they would eventually be treating me for cancer. The weird part was they were only right once, and that was with my lung cancer. The other 2 was for male breast cancer, which is prevalent in the 9/11 community for men now, and then my knee. So I've been gathering up enough steam now where I'm walking. I don't need a cane. I'm just enjoying backyard, the swimming pool behind me, and I have a little studio apartment that I thoroughly enjoy.
Yeah, and this is a wonderful backyard. We're going to show you just a little bit of a clip of his studio apartment. It's a small place with a nice big yard here, and like I said, it has grass. But let's hear more about the process of moving to Mérida from the United States.
So in the process, just dealing with all the cancer stuff and the illnesses, and things just started to get progressively worse financially. And I've always been a high achiever. It was really weird because as you're going through all of these things, you can't pay you just can't pay the electric bill or lights or whatever, or the rent, because you're in bed for months, weeks at a time. After getting divorced, what I realized was I was going to end up going to Augusta, Georgia, and I came down here to check it out. Came back down here, and I was just like, I'm not going back. And my daughter, who goes to school in Georgia, was like, "You're not coming back?" I was like, "Well, let me figure out my health situation." So being single, you come down here and you look at all your options, and it's a lot easier being down here by myself because I could do a lot of things real fast. And one of the greatest things about being down here is like you can literally go and get an X-ray or a CT scan or MRI and go there the same day. It might cost you a few thousand pesos, and you get the results. and you don't even need an appointment. And that's really the best part. I'm starting to get back into like nutrition and detoxing and stuff, and I heard that you can get a doctor to come to your studio apartment and actually give you the minerals in an IV bag. And from what I heard, that's like 800 pesos. You're talking about $40 an ounce for the bag. So, I mean, it's a no-brainer for me. I'm getting healthier by the day. I have blood issues. I'm still fighting some 9/11 stuff. But it's just a better place to really tap into myself. That's really what I needed to do, was to eliminate all the people, places, and things that I had in my life that were just dysfunctional. Come down here, and it's starting to hook up with my friends again that I had for a really long time, which is really cool. And I'm just a lot better off here, financially. Yeah, I made a decision. I left, and that was it. Never looking back.
So those of you who follow this channel know that Kat and I go back and forth every year. I would love the idea of not going back, but hey, I'm married, so we'll see how things go with the future here and see if Kat changes her mind. But let's talk more about this idea of living your best life, because that's turned into a little bit of a profession for Craig.
What I do now is, while I was sick, I think it was 2020, I had surgery and procedure every month. 2021, I had a knee ablation. That was my 12th surgery on my knee, and that gave me 3 blood clots. It almost killed me, and I should have been dead a really long time ago, numerous times. And what eventually happened for me, I used to coach a lot of people in real estate and real estate finance. I used to speak at convention centers, and I got sick for 10 years, man. And it's been a long battle. And I started coaching folks again, coaching, mentoring. And what I do, a lot of people ask me questions about resiliency, like, what makes you not stop? And I had to sit in the living room that I was at, my townhouse, for like 6 years and understand like what's going on with me, my body. And I needed to tap into the stories of my coaches. And I've had the best coaches in the world, like literally. From Kirk Ashley to Tony Robbins to Joseph McClendon, and the last one was the Godfather of Greatness, Les Brown. I became one of his Power Voice speakers, and I was really proud of that. And he had told me, you get mentored by the best in the world, and he had told me, he said, Craig, all you got to do is stay ahead of the chalk outlaw. So it was like, keep beating death and keep moving. And, learning from him, I mean, this is a man that had stage 4 cancer, I think, for like 20 years. And he's just an amazing human. So what I do is I help people tap into the quantum field. And, it's a bit woo-woo for people. However, our subconscious behavior runs 95% of our day. And it's our 5% conscious behavior that gets us in trouble. We are basically programmed from an early age, 0 to 8 years old. You show me the kid and I can show you the adult, or you can show me the adult and I can tell you about your childhood. I've been gifted with the ability to understand human beings. I study human behavior. Since I was a little kid, I grew up in a Sicilian household, so it was always about body language and, people's tells. So I'm always looking for tells. And when I was in Atlanta, while I was battling this cancer stuff, I started mentoring a bunch of kids. And, I'm proud to say some of them are multimillionaires right now. And, it gives me great pleasure when people have aha moments, especially when we're caught trapped in our daily lives. And that's why I thoroughly enjoy being down here, and it's such a beautiful environment. People always, I have friends, they're like, do you have like paved roads? I was like, yeah, man, I go to paved roads, go to Home Depot, Costco, Sam's Club, Super Walmart. And, and they're like, wait, what are you talking about? And I was like, yeah, it's so crazy that I think it was Texas Roadhouse just moved in, right? So they got 2 restaurants, Texas Roadhouse here. And it just befuddles my mind that I can go down and get a Dunkin' Donuts coffee, Yeah, it's just an interesting way of living. I encourage everybody to, seek your most beautiful life. We only live once, right? Actually, we only die once. We live every day. And that's something that has a profound effect on me, is living in different cultures, because what I've learned is nobody laughs that cries in a different language. And I think once we start to understand each other, we start to understand our cultures, and we start to understand our behaviors and habits. It's our behaviors and habits that need to shift in order for us to present a beautiful life. And I would encourage everybody to check out Mexico. I listen to all the stories about, the bad people, and there's bad people everywhere. Mexico is one of the beautiful countries I've ever been to, and I'll go down swinging in Mexico, because I believe in it so much. Just creating the life that you always wanted. And, I encourage people to just look at your finances and what it costs just to live in the United States. Everything is getting ridiculously expensive. I had the foresight, thank God, of getting my permanent residency when I lived here for 7 years. When I was raising my daughter with my ex-wife. And it made my transition so much easier because now I'm listening to the horror shows, right? But then you start thinking about it and it's like, they're not really horror shows, man. We all have to go through this proper channel of getting here. And I encourage people to do your homework. Come down here, take a vacation. Go to the places that are off the beaten path. Mérida is the ancient village of Thel. And I love just the Mayan culture. You can go to pyramids, temples, cenotes, and it's just a wealth of information. And for me, I've always studied ancient cultures and civilizations. So I believe I'm home. I believe this is my quest. And if I can give people aha moments during my quest, it's made my life so much more in balance with who I'm supposed to be.
So Craig mentioned safety here in Mérida. Mérida is actually, I've heard it's the second safest place in the Americas, and it's in Mexico. So don't worry, safety. So many people get hung up on safety. I've got a video on one of these corners that really digs into safety in Mexico because it's a heck of a lot more safe than the media would have you believe. And I explain that in another video. But let's get into a little more of the costs because this isn't the first place that he stayed when he came here. So we've got to be able to compare the costs of different places around Mérida. And Mérida is a city of like 1.2 million people. So this is a much bigger city than La Paz. La Paz is something like 250,000 people. So we're talking 5 times bigger than La Paz. A little more humid, but actually there's a nice breeze going today. And the clouds, you can probably see the clouds changing the brightness here. But so this is a really pleasant afternoon. We're in February now, and it's pretty nice out in the middle of the afternoon. But let's talk about rent in different places.
So when I first got here, did a little bit of research because I haven't been here in a while, and I found Ibis Hotel over by I think it's the Galleria where the ice skating rink is. I ended up staying there for a month and a half. I mean, it was actually affordable, and I started looking, of course, in Central. And I eventually landed a beautiful house on the other side of La Plancha. And I was going to be paying 16,000 pesos. And if you think about it, it's still less than $1,000. And when I did the formal closing, I got the keys, and that just happened to be the day that Mérida flooded. And when I went to go into the house, I opened up the door, and the water was rushing past my ankles, and that was 2 steps up. And the walls and ceilings, the water was just downpouring inside. And I got so mad, man. And then I was like, hey, you know what, man, it's not my first rodeo. Let me go back and call the people up. And the next day I got my money back. And in the process, I started staying at Ibis again. And somebody had mentioned about my landlord. And I got in contact with him. He showed me a couple places. And I fell in love with this place. I really did, because it's only myself. My daughter came down to visit, and I have an air mattress. I just threw right next to the bed, and we just went about our business. It's a very affordable place. Food costs are ridiculously cheap. I spend, depending on what I'm looking to eat, $50 a week. And that's. Ribeye steaks. That's really good Mercado produce, real cheap, and the abundance. There's a plethora of fruits and vegetables that you've probably never seen before, and they're probably so high in nutrients, and that's the reason why I'm getting healthier by the day.
So if you are feeling inspired by Craig, not only just to move to Mexico, maybe it's something else. He does coaching, so I want to give him a chance to talk a little bit about that and some of the other things that he's doing here, that the services that he provides.
So my business is CraigSotovsky.com, And it's, if you go to my website, you'll see that there isn't, I'm a little bit different than most people. There's no place on my website where you can put your Visa or MasterCard in. Because what I do is I take people through a process and I show them literally financial literacy as well as mindset. Changing the way we think is so important. And I don't want you to think like me. It's not what I want to do because, you just don't want to even come close to how I think. I want you to think different. I want you to give yourself the ability to change. And I think once we have a little bit of just misery and suffering, pain, and just pure, bullshit, sorry, you get to change. And you have the ability to change once you remove that emotional attachment that you have from the past people, places, and things. And that is my passion. My passion is written in a book called Everybody Pays a Vig, One Man's Entrepreneurial Journey. And my next book that's coming out is called The Shaman from Jersey. Because if a knucklehead from Jersey can figure this out, anybody can.
So if a knucklehead from Jersey and a knucklehead originally from Wisconsin can do it, you can too. So what's holding you back from moving to Mexico or from the next thing that you have coming up in your life, the next good thing that you have that maybe has some barriers? So leave that down in the comments below, and also get in touch with Craig if you're ready for some coaching to make it happen. I've got some additional videos up here with other foreigners who've made a go of it in Mexico and are just enjoying life. So from Mérida, wish you were here. Hasta luego.